And Trelly, this is a team that has been kind of wide in terms of their random picks, right? They'll grab whatever they want. Krenanos has definitely been a very big pickup overall for Netruoid. We've seen the Izanami work out really well. I was going to say Serket because I feel like that's a pick both of these junglers can play, but I think the Warriors have been doing their homework. Take that one away from Kirmi. Bakasura, another one both these junglers can play.
Yep.
And I would not be surprised if it gets taken out in one of these top three.
Yeah, I'm thinking. So far, the Oni Warriors have been taking away a lot of what the Gilded Gladiators want to do. It seems like the Serket is a pick that really no one wants to get through, but I think the Nox stops a lot of that duo lane pressure. Marty is a pick that the Gilded Gladiators have liked to go to, which means either A, the Oni Warriors take it away, or B, they don't touch it, and they're able to first pick it, which, of course, would work just fine over here for Pagon in mid, or throw it over towards net in the duo lane if you must. I think that Cyclone Spin proved that Marty can be played in duo lane just fine as long as you're able to get some more auto attack damage elsewhere, maybe from your jungler, etc. So the Oni Warriors are going to take away Agni in that spot, maybe trying to get Snoopy on something he's a little bit less comfortable on, like the Merlin, for example. He still does go towards it, but wasn't looking unstoppable on that pick, and they value the Agni just a little bit more, the Oni Warriors, that is, for just trying to get Snoopy off that one. So now the question becomes, are you banning away these top picks like the Horus, the Vamana? Are you worried about the Marty? The Gilded Gladiators, unfortunately, are in a tough spot, but if they leave all three open, they can grab two, right when the Oni Warriors grab their first pick.
Definitely something I think to deal with. Marty, going into this week, was pretty high on that banned against list. You can see, though, some of the others on the rise. The Finrare, the Afra, the Baka. Horus, surprisingly, right now, making it through. Hercules, banned out. There's only other one H-God right now in the meta that has been heavily contested. That's the Hell, who has been another more or less consistent ban versus the Gladiators over the last few weeks. Vamana, though, of all the gods that we've talked about, going to be the first pick. And actually, after talking about what Scary D was able to do on this god yesterday, it makes a lot more sense to see him scooped away.
Yep, now you get to see either A, Horus and Marty, or B, I guess they're already hovering the Horus. I was going to say Horus and Baka. Those are the only two picks I could see here. If it's not Horus and Marty, then it's got to be Horus and Baka. And it is going to be Horus and Marty because the Gilded Gladiators are sticking with what works for them. And these two picks, I think, have been fantastic on the side of the Gilded Gladiators. You don't know exactly where that Vamana goes. Of course, it could go into Panatom's hands and he could just be a jungle Vamana, which we've seen time and time again. Or Sokka take it in his hands, and we still could look at that Bakasura coming through. These high-pressure, fast-paced junglers, I think, work very well for the Oni Warriors. But because it's going to be the Cernanos and the Hell, the Gilded Gladiators are put in the position where they either have to grab the Baka now or they're not getting it, because it's got to be taken away in the second wave of bans.
Yeah, you have to imagine jungle bans on the horizon here. The Warriors maybe have a couple of easy targets that are going to come through. One thing that's worth noting, depending on where this Horus goes, solo, honestly, I might prefer for the Gladiators, just because yesterday we saw them play at Game 1 against the Kings. Did not quite click, I think, the way that Inbound would have wanted it to. So definitely room for improvement, definitely wiggle room in the draft. Marty, alongside the Merlin, makes me think that that's meant for the duo lane. And Charlie, for a long time, we actually saw Stu have a solid KDA and was really good on this god as well, but he wasn't getting as involved, right? That was the other half of the conversation, was like, okay, you've got a great KDA because you're just not in there. But the Horus beside him, the Merlin beside him, feels like maybe there's some opportunities to see what Stu has to offer. Has had some great games on this pick, though. So I'm excited to see it. The Morgan, Giannis, banned out by the Gladiators. Guan Yu, and I imagine a conversation you had mentioned, where do they go jungle bans? Finrear over the Bakasura. Depending on what Kirmi wants to do, the Baka's still up.
Yeah, and I think that'd be a great pick to go to. I see Kirmi shaking his head because, you know, they're saying, hey, do you want us to grab Baka here? And he's going, I kind of want to see if that's a Vamana jungle or if Panatom still wants to play something like his Susano here, which we didn't take away. They just focused on banning out Pagon, the Gladiators, that is, with the Janus and the Morgan. So still plenty of options there in the jungle for Panatom, and unless, of course, he wants to take the Vamana, which is still certainly an option. It just, how much do you want to reveal? And it looks like the Gilded Gladiators are going to take the Mercury. That's a surprise. I did not expect this pick. It's been very highly prioritized for some teams. I'm still not the biggest fan, and honestly, I don't think the win rate reflects, that much success because of how much. I think the other junglers that are in the meta right now are much easier, right? Like I said, if you're not getting value out of Sonic Boom, you're missing out. I think there's many other junglers that you don't have to hit skill shot line ultimates and you can still make crazy value on. So because of that, you better be making sure you're on point with the Mercury if you're going to lock it in, especially when things like Baka that essentially play themselves are available. So I'm guessing Kirmi's feeling himself today.
You know what? Kirmi's feeling himself. The team tends to do well. So the Gladiators should be pretty stoked. That's where his mindset is at. Mercury, though, like you said, a little early in comparison to where I'm used to seeing some jungle picks. Discordia locked in. First game this phase. Looks like it's going to be locked in alongside the Susano. So definitely a lot of aggression. Definitely a lot of knowns on the Warriors. How do you feel about the Disco?
I talked to Pagon specifically about the Disco a bit ago because we had the mid laners in for our content day. And he said as long as he's the one who has Discordia passive, he loves this pick. So he's going to...
as long as I get to be selfish.
Yeah, as long as he's the one that is getting his own buff, he's fine with it. So that tells me he's going to be playing aggressive. He wants to be looking for poke consistently to make sure that he is able to get that extra buff. If Panatom takes it away or if you're just losing that pressure because Sot is doing so much damage on the Vamana, then you lose a little bit of the value. But of course, you can just play through that lane. As the Disco player, you have plenty of space to create lots of setup for your team. That Strife can be such an impactful CC towards those objectives. But it all really depends on how you decide to pilot it. And this is a shock because I really did think the Horus was going to be going over to inbound. It looks like the Terra comes in later, and Scary D is actually going to take it into solo. It's a pick that a lot of solo laners have. It didn't scream to me a Scary D pick. And it still doesn't, to be fair. I'm not saying now it does.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think Scary D likes the Horus playstyle. He likes to get his hands dirty, go to the back line. Horus is more sit back, calculated play. I'm going to go for CC, but you're not really getting that aggressive.
I do want to ask you about some pick and ban theory here.
Please do.
And that's that with the Mercury locked in where it was.
Yes.
The Warriors got to have that conversation. We've seen Vamana go to the jungle more often than not so far this year. But that was the point you had brought up was maybe you grab your support where Mercury would be. Let Kirmi kind of stew in it a little longer, see what team he's going up against. Do you like the Susano in response to a Mercury, or would you have preferred the Vamana-Mercury matchup?
It depends on who's piloting the Susano, but I have 100% confidence in Panatom on this pick, no matter what the matchup is. It could be all 5 gods that Susano hates, and I'd be like, Panatom's going to find a way, don't worry.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have that much faith in him. He's just given us that much data on how well he's been playing in the jungle. It really is disgusting. So yeah, I like it here. I imagine he's going to try and get the Disco passive. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 3 members of the Oni Warriors fighting for that Disco passive consistently. It's going to be Pagon, it's going to be SOT, and it's going to be Panatom. Netroid, late game you can get it for sure, but it's going to take a bit. The duo lane meta right now is not scrapping and looking for 1v1s. It's, oh boy, I cleared the wave, got to go get my chest camp, my purple buff, and now I'm back to tower line again.
Now, the 3 people you just mentioned, self-proclaimed clowns, is what we just learned.
And I will sign out. I'll stamp that as well.
Do you think that causes issues, not necessarily in like a comms way, but in a, I bet I can get the Disco passive from you, and someone steps up maybe a little too far, causes some trouble for the team?
I can tell you from experience, SOT and Pagon Q rank together a lot, and when they're on my team, they're always competing for something. And now they're in an actual competitive league together, so they'll just be like, oh, you have 1 more kill than me, I'm going to go camp at the enemy speed buff so I can try and get a kill. That's the kind of mindset they have. It's a little different in the actual SPL, but I would not be surprised if they're saying, wait, you have top damage? Okay, give me a second. Like, I'm running into this fight, and I'm going to do more damage than you. That's the kind of mindset they have, and we get to talk to them in interviews, and they reflect that.
The SPL, look, it changes the mentality of like the game itself. It doesn't change who you are as a person, and I think that's what you're getting at is that, well, maybe we'll see some good. I mean, even Sot in the interview was just saying, he's like, yeah, a lot of the times we've lost, it's because we've been like He didn't say the word trolling. You could tell he wanted to say the word
Yep.
trolling, though. He was just trying to avoid that one.
Yep.
It's just those moments where things just slip away from them, let's
Yeah.
call it. We'll see, I guess, whether or not they have those moments this game with the disco passive specifically there to maybe create some tension between the players of the Warriors. Will they take it 1-0? Will the Gladiators continue to impress? Let's find out in game one.
When Gordon says the only Warriors lose, and every once in a while they'll lose a game, but this is a team that has not lost a set yet here in Season 10, the last undefeated team we've got in the Smite Pro League. And look, going into this weekend, Miff, we would have said if you could get through the Ravens, it's absolutely going to end up the same way. You're still going to be the only undefeated team in the Smite Pro League. You got the Gilded Gladiators to finish off your weekend. I still think a betting man, which you are not, would put money on the Oni Warriors to win this one. However, I think the Gladiators showed us they can dethrone these undefeated teams. They can compete. Just going to take another repeat performance from what we saw them play yesterday.
You know, I've spent the first 3 or 4 years. I don't know how long I've been casting here, Dave.
You are in your 4th year of Smite.
I'm glad you're keeping track. And the first year, the major piece of feedback that Hindu Man had given me was you're too negative. You're focusing too much on the negatives. And I think that was a bit of the player brain. You know, you're picking apart play, seeing where you can improve it. Years 2 and 3, really all in on the positive, you know, especially with some of these teams in the past that have really struggled. Like the Valkyries, for example. Oh, they, you know, any given day they might just show up and find this win.
All right, I'm nervous of where you're going with this. Which one are you leaning into
I don't
here?
believe in the any given day narrative anymore. I think it's once in a blue moon you might get a dub until you prove to me that it is not an anomaly and it is in fact a trend. I'm not putting a whole lot of weight here.
Well, that was the issue with the Valkyries last year, is they beat the Kings and then immediately next week and into the next game struggled to piece those together. But players across the league seem to be under the impression that the bottom end teams still feel more competitive than in years of past. So there's always going to be a team that's struggling to string wins together. And right now it's been the Gilded Gladiators. However, minds in the SPL still seem to think that they have a better chance of winning than maybe in years of past. And a good chance of finding first blood as Kirby's rotated into duo and Awesome Jake tossed aside. And a first blood for the Gilded Gladiators in the Mercury Jungle at level 3.
I take it back. I'm buying stock. Gilded Gladiators, we're back.
Well, let's see what happens here. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see what happens here. Panatom gets a pull onto Kirby. But Kirby immediately returns the stun. No.
Ooh.
Panatom's got to run, but unfortunately the shield buff still returning some damage. Netrioid stands and fights, and as he should, because the 1-for-1 trade and duo, but now Snoopy's rotating on him in. Panatom takes the teleport right back
How's
in.
he moving like that?
Netrioid dodges everything.
What?
And some healing from Awesome Jake keeps his carry alive.
He just maneuvered the backline.
That's a solo?
SOT got soloed by Scare. What is going on? I think Panatom broke some ankles. It was as if he became invisible. They couldn't see him anymore.
We're still fighting?
We're still fighting in the duo lane, but it's the Gilded Gladiators who come out ahead thanks to Scary D and his performance up against SOT really tipping the scales in favor of the Chaos side. Crazy stuff to start this game, but not a whole lot established on map. Maybe largest lead now does belong to Scary D with that direct solo kill. And with First Blood going over to Kirby, should be able to finish up his golden blade.
What in the
We're
world?
fighting everywhere.
Hey, I don't mind it, Miff. Look, you and I, we had 30-minute 4-kill games.
That's right.
That ended up going 50 to start our day. We've earned a little.
Call it 55.
Because it was 55. You're right. This time you actually are right. I don't mind a little scrappiness to end my week here in the SPL. Things may fizzle out, however. It's not often we get that type of pace all game long, but it does seem like it's always the Oni Warriors when that pace is maintained. We didn't get to see it, Miff, but is a Horus solo against a Vamana expected in the first 5 levels?
No.
Okay.
Soul Lander is getting soloed in general, not exactly expected in the first 5. Hercules, probably the most likely to find that because you could just get pulled into a tower. That might just happen. If I had to guess what happened over here, SOT had Scary D pretty low.
Yep.
Decided to chase out.
Yep.
Scary D has a heal, and it's on a pretty low cooldown thanks to his shard. Just got baited a bit, and it's a turnaround kill. The Oni Warriors most likely to find solo kills, also the most likely to be soloed because of that propensity to look for it.
Right,
Yeah,
they're searching for the solo kills.
It's just bound to happen here or there.
Every once in a while it does. Talked about the battle for the Discordia. Yeah,
It's
right,
this
something
type
like
of stuff,
this.
yeah.
Something like this is what happened. Honestly, it's probably exactly this, where Scary D is a sliver of HP.
I'm thinking Sot got hit by a tower.
I'm thinking so, too. Kirimi's over on the right side of the map. And Sot, not knowing where the Mercury is, got to be careful. Oh, no, Scary D.
Yeah, so careful.
Will
No
not
way!
go back. SOT, oh, no!
Oh, he got the dash. He got the
gonna
dash.
happen again. Turns into a big baby, and
He
one
doesn't
auto
care.
is all he needs. And one auto he will get. So he's fixed the error from earlier. Oh, Kirimi going to get pulled in by Panatom as well. We are fighting once more. But Kirimi will live. His solo laner not so lucky. Scary D, early solo kill, turned into a death just a few moments later.
And it's been quiet in mid. I'm glad that we finally get the camera over there. The Bastions are almost gone, and Snoopy's a level down.
Yep.
Couldn't tell you how exactly it happened. Just pressure from Discordia. Not exactly the standard, especially against Merlin, who's so good at keeping those minion waves back. Maybe this early in the game, struggling a bit with that. It's the Oni Warriors, who had fallen early, but have immediately righted the ship and actually pulled it slightly in their own favor. I imagine we see this pace of game continue if the Oni Warriors get their way.
Hey, all right.
SOT's dashing into tower on cooldown, dashing into the enemy jungle with zero vision. He did not care that Kirimi was there. Still makes it work. Seems like Scary D, though, similarly, uncaring and unfeeling in his lane, willing to do just about anything to find some sort of lead. But considering the pace of game, I don't imagine either one of these teams is over willing or over necessary to get involved. SOT now in some trouble.
He is in some trouble. Does not have ultimate. Might be. Oh, I
my
see it
God.
down there at the bottom. 10 seconds away. My goodness. Sot has dodged everything.
No, he's dead.
Including the ultimate from Scary D beneath the tower. Kirimi. Oh, no. Is he even able to damage SOT? One tower shot. Oh, that's brutal for Sot.
What is going on?
An order tower gets the kill onto Scary D. Kirimi lives with a sliver of HP. Sot just got his ultimate back. In just the matter of seconds, SOT could have been able to grab a double there. But you know, we talk about so often kills, and what really matters is the denial of farm, the denial of waves. Scary D ends up dying anyway, so yes, the extra gold is nice, but they're both denied a bit of farm on the map.
Uh-oh, Snoopy flickers
Did he
aggressively.
just flicker back in?
Yeah, you cannot be doing that.
Eats an apple, eats some damage, dodges the stripe, however.
Jake's in the tower.
But Snoopy gets a kill onto Awesome Jake as Kirimi rotates through. They said they're not going to troll.
Dave, I'm watching this, right? Every kill that the Gilded Gladiators have got, the last two of them, the gold lead has extended further in favor of the Oni Warriors. They're dying and collecting gold from the afterlife, staring at, just stealing it from Charon as they cross the river Styx. It don't make sense. What is going on?
I have no idea. This Oni Warriors team is an enigma. And you know what?
Someone check their PC.
I don't mind. I don't mind. Actually, you know what? Not only do I not mind it, I love the ability of the Gilded Gladiators to meet them on that level, right? So often we've talked about teams and the new teams to the SPL and how do they compete with the top-seeded teams. We always say, well, man, they can scrap, but come PvE time, they fall just a bit short. Oni Warriors, one of the best teams in the world that's scrapping right now, and so I love it from the Gilded Gladiators trying to meet him on that playing field.
I couldn't explain a single thing that's happening on the screen right now. He just ate 80% of his HP and kept moving forward and took the Totem of Skulls from Scary D. How does that happen? How does that make any sense? Kirimi's hovering nearby. You'd think Scary D would love to take that
Yeah,
fight.
but Sot's got ult this time.
Yeah, Sot's got ult, and we saw how close the last one was. He doesn't have blue buff, though. That's just not going to be the case.
Will not have blue buff. Kirimi rotates over. No Bastions on the left side, tier 1 of the Gilded Gladiators. No, well, I'll call it a sliver of health on the Bastion in the mid lane. Wave pressure has been mounting in both duo and mid in favor of the Oni Warriors. Awesome Jake will step forward towards Inbound, who now realizes Panatom is here. And a purple buff invade. Remember, it just leashes towards whoever's closest to it. For now, it's the Oni Warriors who will drop the purple and then scurry away into the wind. Kirimi's been active. Kirimi's been pivotal for this Gilded Gladiators team and their success. Exactly what you need to see from a Mercury, and he's been doing it.
Yeah, he's gotten active a lot earlier than you would expect from a Mercury, so I'd argue has gone above and beyond
here we
so
go.
far.
Here we
Early
go.
transform.
Now watch this. I mean, I don't know what
so hard.
The Gladiators are going to back away. I was going to say Panatom is on the right side of the map, so may end up rotating over if the fight were to extend. Bit of extra damage than the Gladiators were expecting, maybe, just since Kirmi and Scary D running for the hills. Maybe we stabilized. Maybe we can take a deep breath. Maybe not. Because Scary D is going to get pulled in by Panatom. Knock up, knock down on a simple solo lane gank from Panatom, returning the favor from what Kirmi's been doing for the last few minutes.
Dave, the positioning, everything I'm looking at, it is screaming disrespect from me, from the Oni Warriors. Pagon's leaping on wave. That doesn't make any sense, man. He shouldn't be jumping on wave. It doesn't do damage. He's not Hades. He doesn't need it to clear. He's leaping forward to try and poke Snoopy while inbound is staring him down. The Oni Warriors have not shown any regard so far for what the Gilded Gladiators have been doing, what they are going to do, what they can do. Even here, he stares down 3. It's not a leap away. It's I'm a ult in. It doesn't make any sense, Dave. And they ran.
But and now a Gold Fury.
Gold?
Oh, and the Oni Warriors are doing it so fast. This is Netroid and Panatom getting away with the Gold Fury. A Sonic Boom, though, catches Netroid. Kirmi uses the beads. A Wild Hunt dropped at his feet. Net lives, not for much longer. Stewart and Inbound have damage for him. Now the Warriors need to be scared. They're all at half HP. None of them have ultimate. And Awesome Jake face plants into a pillar. Pagon chased down as well. And finally, the Gladiators make the Oni Warriors pay.
That's a big bounce-back fight for the Gilded Gladiators. They needed that experience in gold. We're getting a bit out of hand there. The Oni Warriors felt like maybe there was a miscommunication. Can we take this fight? Awesome Jake seems to think so. Goes in a bit aggressive in that dark stance. The rest of the team fully have disengaged on the mind as Netroid gets caught out on the chase, but haven't already taken the Fury, and the Pyromancer not on the map just yet. There's not much past that the Gilded Gladiators can do to push their lead. Panatom survives, is able to fall back towards his own red buff. So, decent play from the Oni Warriors to grab the Fury, of course, but it's the Gilded Gladiators who are the major winner there. The game state beforehand was much more favorable for the Oni Warriors.
And a timely fight for Kirmi. 3 stacks on the Rage. Finished it, rotated in, got a few stacks rolling. Will not fall prey to the Rage curse where player buys it and we never see a stack for the rest of the game. This game simply moving too quickly. However, a 7-3 kill lead is just meant equal and at times gold deficit. Because the Oni Warriors, Miff, we've talked a lot about this team and their ability to fight, their ability to play aggressive, their ability to scrap. But I think they've matured from the play-in tournament. This team also very good at PvEing now. Their objective control seems to be really on point. And a team that does love fighting, and maybe even being disrespectful. However, they're fighting for objective sake. Scary D will make it out. Though it was close. Panatom had Typhoon, chose not to use it. And well, there's presence on right from the Gilded Gladiators, so we'll knock down a tier 1 on left, say the Warriors.
I like that dash from Scary D. Panatom actually connects that third ability. The Slipstream says, all right, if you teleport away, I'll be able to come towards you. Scary D realizes that, immediately channels his own stun on landing on the off chance that Panatom decides to dive into that tower. I think Panatom likely correct to not do it. Pagon stares down a Sonic Boom, immediately throws out his massive golden apple dragon.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
I think it's a dragon. It's a puffer fish.
A puffer fish.
But a dragon.
It's got poison damage.
That's maybe.
Well, you think it was prepared by like a sushi chef?
Hope not. Pagon.
Hope not.
Well, are people eating poison fish? We'll find out. Pagon avoids a lot of the initiation. Panatom's here. Snoopy's got to be careful, but so does Panatom. Because remember, the Gladiators have damage on the return as well. And Panatom will get the Typhoon out. A double strife keeps things interesting and actually maybe just baits in Awesome Jake. He'll have to cleanse himself and heal himself. And he'll be able to scurry away. Panatom, first death of the game. Maybe call it a bit of a bait over in mid.
Gilded Gladiators starting to get something rolling here. Have not adjusted the gold once in the 13 minutes. It really has been stagnant about 800 since the first kill of the game. Except for that one bounce up around the Gold Fury, but since then has largely stayed the same.
Are people eating poison fish, Miff?
Yeah, pufferfish, if it's prepared correctly, they can get the
so
toxins out of it.
Okay, so that was the nuance I was missing from the from the conversation there. I didn't.
Tell me you never omakase, bro?
I don't know how to answer that. I'm going to say no.
Call the fight.
I'm trying. I'm trying to keep up with the action that's happened. I think luckily for Sot and Scary D, things over in Solo Lane have really slowed down. However, unluckily for Scary D, his tower is one concerted effort from the Oni Warriors away from going down. You could say the same for mid. Bastions tend to be a pretty good indicator of the direction of pressure. Mid tier 1, also off the Oni Warrior side of the map. Gilded Gladiators saw the last Gold Fury go down quickly. They don't want the same thing to happen in the Primal. Flip a coin again. Gilded Gladiators get it this time. Netroid was close, but close does not count. Now SOT is rotated out of Solo, and he will transform. Will he catch Kirmi? It's all about cooldowns at this point. A flicker away, a dash away, and an Earthen Fury. But that just put Inbound in harm's way. And the Oni Warriors are going tower diving. Shouldn't have.
Miss?
A killing spree for Snoopy. At least answered by a kill and maybe a tier 1 for the Warriors in mid.
Was that an Aegis from Snoopy for the Typhoon, or did Panatom whiff? I couldn't quite say.
I mean, he's used as Aegis.
Yeah,
so.
the Aegis has been used. Regardless, Snoopy finds his way out of there thanks to the help of Inbound, who sacrifices himself. That Earthen Fury, great at giving his team a little bit of damage mitigation, then splitting off means that you can't chase all three. Does put himself in harm's way and will fall down. But in trade for Panatom and a Fury, I think a phenomenal trade for the Gilded Gladiators. But have they done too much on map? Pyromancer now under the eyes. But it's the Gladiators who take it, and maybe Jake.
Got to be Stewart who steals that away. A lot of burst damage out of the Marty. Scary D trying to initiate onto this fight. Apple connects on a Snoopy. SOT still chasing down both of the carries. Needs a little support from the rest of his team because Sot has just simply done too much. Just crosses the 10,000 damage threshold. If there was a bit more range, a snipe, then the Gilded Gladiators would have to be more worried about their disengage. But a stolen Pyromancer. The Runic Bomb picked up. Gladiator Smith, they've gone toe-to-toe with the Oni Warriors at every moment this game. They're far ahead in kills, but it's required the last couple of objectives to even the gold.
Individual smart play from Snoopy in that last fight as well. Does not need to use the beads to flicker away for his own safety. Instead, uses his own beads so that he doesn't spread the golden apple over towards Stu. So team play on the mind of the Gilded Gladiators mid laner as he makes a hard decision. Now 120 seconds without that relic means that he could be the target of aggression from Panatom or Netroid or anyone with hard CC on the Oni Warriors. Oni Warriors been playing around a bit too much here. A very fast-paced game met by the Gilded Gladiators at every turn. And the objective steal finally puts the Gilded Gladiators in the driver's seat for the first time this game. Experience as well still, largely even across the board. Slight leads here or there for either side. Support, you're favoring Jake. Soul Lane, Scary D, slightly ahead. Parity between these hunters, but not in methodology, Dave. One of these hunters is building auto attack. One of them wants to have consistent damage output, be able to shred the tanks, Inbound, Scary D. The other, playing Marty, goes down the ability tree, but puts a fail knot in there as well. One of the primary weaknesses I've seen from Marty, not out of mid, but in the hunter role, is that you've sacrificed crit, some auto attack, in order to look towards these objectives. It really slows you down around Fire or Gold Fury. Fail knot shores that up a good deal, especially post-ultimate. So I like this adaptation from Stu.
Seen it slotted into a couple builds once or twice. Pagon's been very reactive with these golden apples or pufferfish or dragons, whatever they might be on the skin. Kirmi has sent Sonic Boom right down mid lane a handful of times. And again, met with the CC immunity in the ultimate windup from Pagon. Pagon with a little extra CDR. He'll get his ultimate back a bit sooner. Both mid laners, same methodology. If we're talking about methodologies here, Miff, it's Conduit Gem instead of Sands of Time into the Chronos Pendant, except Pagon's got a bit of extra CDR. He's got Deso after the fact. See what Scary D does this time. Doesn't need the dash because Panatom's not tower diving that. Very close to knocking down a tier 1 tower over on right, and that's surprising. The Gladiators are the first team to get the solo lane tower just because of how low this one has been pretty much all game long. This will spike the gold back for the Oni Warriors just a little bit. Gold Fury will be up here, Miff, as we speak, and the Gilded Gladiators are there on time. SOT has teleport. It's upgraded, but this Gold Fury burning quickly. You got a Merlin and a lot of damage on the other side. The Gold Fury to the Gilded Gladiators, but here comes Sot.
4-man slow.
In the back line. He needs to transform, though, and he finally does. Kierme being worked down, but Kierme sends the damage right back. Inbound, dancing between the walls. He'll be the trade out. For now, Gold Fury, the difference maker, and a kill onto Sot versus a kill onto support.
Kierme on the retreat, has access to Sonic Boom shortly. Might be able to make it
5 seconds.
out of there with it. 5 seconds.
Needs it now.
Could
3.
be too slow.
He'll get it back. So Kierme, if he can channel it, will get out. Didn't have the time. You got to charge it up, and that only sends you so far right off the rip. So
has to flourish with a hand clap first. Takes a
that's
while.
right. Mercury needs to chill out with the embellishment.
Hey, get to running.
And just get to running, guy. Says the Oni Warriors. You trade out Sot, you get 2 kills, but you lose the Gold Fury. And I think the Gilded Gladiators fine with their objective control here in the first 20 minutes.
This is dangerous. No Kierme on the map for 20 seconds. Pull the Pyromancer, do the Gilded Gladiators, but instead, a reset, a heat check. Play it fast, see if the Oni Warriors are ready on that side of the map. Playing it fast is the Oni Warriors' MO, and they are ready on the right side. Pyromancer will go to the Order side as well. I thought potentially an opportunity to look towards the Fire Giant here.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Instead, pressure through mid. They're stacked up consistently, concisely towards the center of the map. And they've got really good vision control. I mean, look at the wards on the right-hand side, a wall of them.
Unfortunately, the pivotal ward for the Gilded Gladiator sitting right at the feet of the Fire Giant, so would not be snuck away by the Oni Warriors.
Do you think Fire Giant has feet?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sticking with yes. Right at the belly button of the Fire Giant is where that ward stands. I wonder if this is now the moment in the game. Now, the Gilded Gladiators, again, they've impressed me this game. They've gone toe-to-toe. They've gone kill for kill, objective for objective with the Oni Warriors. Oni Warriors playing it a bit fast and loose, though, in the early portions of this game. You wonder now, you're starting at the 20-minute mark, the game is even. Do you see the Oni Warriors button it up a bit for the next 10 or 15 minutes of game 1?
I could. It depends on really this next objective dance, and it's been the Gilded Gladiators playing a bit faster here in game 1. Grouped up first. It's going to take a while for Netroid to rotate across, but the Gilded Gladiators can't possibly know that. So it's just a stare down in the Fire Giant pit. I think whichever team gets this Fire Giant, considering the pace of game and the willingness from both sides to take any fight, I think very well could.
Kills will then dictate the next couple of minutes after the Fire Giant. Pyro, Fury, both down for a little bit of time, so Fire Giant, the only objective that these teams will look at. Neither minion wave threatening a Phoenix, anything like that. So we've got all the time in the world. The fully stacked Rage and a Deathbringer
don't want to be there.
For Kierme. Jake, again, face plants into a pillar. Inbound has just been on it. Got to be the first kill for the Gilded Gladiators, but Wild Hunt. It is fantastic from Netroid. And Pagon's Golden Apple able to clean up a kill. Support for support, but Sot has eyes for more in the back line.
Sot on the chase, staring at squishies and having no damage returned. Drops Stu and Scary D down to half. But the Oni Warriors, without Jake, have lost their source of sustain. Instead, have to heal up through lifesteal or headed back to base the old-fashioned way. Support for support trade, it's actually Jake, who is deep in no man's land. Face plants into 5. Does Kierme do the same here?
You thought about it, saw both,
dangerous.
And said, wait, no, I don't want to be here. I'm trying to think of all the Vamana solo builds we've seen, and if any of them have been Golden Blade, Berserkers, Talisman, Hastened.
No. We've seen individual pieces of this throughout a few builds. The Talisman of Energy, not exactly something that we're used to seeing, but Golden Blade, Berserkers, Hastened, all just about core. The Hastened, I think, a vote of confidence. Generally, you're tossing that on as a luxury item in 6th slot. SOT getting it this early.
Yeah, does he have luxury money?
I guess so.
He must.
He's feeling tanky. I mean, he hasn't been under too much threat in the actual team fight. In lane, he was getting a lot sent his way.
Yeah, a couple of those deaths were in lane, tower dives.
One of them was at the 1 minute mark.
One of them was at the 1 minute mark. What we assumed to be a tower dive where he went a bit too far. And then 2v1 under his tower that, in reality, probably should have gotten kill credit for, but didn't return any damage to Scary D's. So the tower got the kill instead. Primal Fury's up on one side. Pyro will be up in the next 30. Kierme has played wonderfully this game. So has Snoopy. Snoopy's caught some flack this year for a slower start to his season. So you got to give him props when he's playing well. Right now, he's called out the over-aggression of the Oni Warriors on a few occasions. At 4-0-3 would be a great shutdown target for this Warriors team. But backline dive has not come easy for the Oni Warriors, not just yet.
I mean, they haven't got a standard initiator. It's not Jake on a Guardian or anybody with hard CC. So instead, when the fight starts up, it's either a counterpunch for the Oni Warriors in the true 5-on-5, or it's Panatom starting something with the pull, or you just trust SOT to buy space on his own. Locking down targets, I think, going to be a weakness for the Oni Warriors going forward. I mean, you've got Strife, you've got Cripples, you've got a knock-up on SOT, but nothing like a standard stun or a shadow lock or anything like that. So the Good Gladiators already such a slippery composition, I think have got a pretty decent shot at finding opportunities to poke in damage and then slip away and see if the Oni Warriors overchase.
Neither team want to leave the Fire Giant in favor of the Primal Fury on left. However, the Gilded Gladiators, my goodness, they begin, and they do not end the Fire Giant.
That's miserable.
Kirmi ults out immediately. It would have been perfect if the fire was secured, but the Armored Umbrella of SOT steals the objective. The Oni Warriors, though, scatter to the wind just a bit. SOT is transformed. Kirmi does not have ultimate. Gotta be a good opportunity for this Vamana, but again, Awesome Jake left alone on the front. It'll get traded out, and Kirmi, a massive target for SOT to eliminate, and he's got more in the back pocket.
He does not
That
care.
hastened, chasing down Snoopy, and not much damage being returned, Miff. You're right, he's tanky enough.
Panatom down the back line, starts channeling the ultimate, does connect with Stu, but it's inbound, drop low.
Pagon dashes forward yet again, and Sod is on a warpath. Has just not been able to clean up any of those low health bars, but still getting a kill on Kirmi in exchange for Awesome Jake feels A-okay when you add in the 4 Fire Giants that the Oni Warriors still have. If you feel like, or you felt like, whoever gets the first FG is in a really great spot for the remainder of this game, and that's the Oni Warriors.
Yeah, the Oni Warriors should be able to really push this gold lead significantly. Primal Fury still up, 3 tier 2 towers that likely will not stand at the end of this Fire Giant power play either. An actual Phoenix going down, I think, unlikely here, considering there's a Merlin on the other side. The Gilded Gladiators have got a very good base defense composition and the ability to follow the Oni Warriors. That's one of the primary strengths of the Warriors is their unpredictability on Siege. Are they going for this tier 2? Are they actually pushing into this Phoenix? You have the opportunity to react with this Gilded Gladiators composition thanks to Scary D on this Horus. So it's going to have to be a bit more standard here from the Warriors. Primal Fury, the first stop on their journey, and it will go their way. Gilded Gladiators, call this. It's a left side push, and the Glads are ready. Kirmi, the only one not here. He's on the right side, pushing up as much as he can before it gets to the Phoenix. That indicates to me that the Gilded Gladiators is a soft defense. They're not going to dedicate a whole lot here.
Scary D over towards the left, up the front line for his team, but you're right. Not too big of a defense. Yeah, I was going to say, Kirmi could keep going, in theory. Nobody from the Oni Warriors heading back to base. Now Kirmi's got to be mindful of that, and the lack of vision elsewhere on the map doesn't tell you exactly who's back. But all 5 members of the Oni Warriors still in mid. This is the team that loves to be aggressive, might just group up and shove down this mid lane Phoenix. Kirmi channels his back, only gets the tier 2 tower on right. But now, seemingly a worthwhile trade because no Phoenix Siege from the Warriors comes through.
Not this time. Only 20 seconds left on the Fire Giant. Actually a tier 2 maintained here by the Gilded Gladiators. I really thought the Warriors would be able to get through all of these, but regardless, a significant gold jump for each individual member, about 3,300 in hand for Netrioid, so a massive power spike there. Outright buying and dominance. Yep. And he's gone for Shell as well. Upgrades the Shell to greater. So lower cooldown, the ability to return damage while simultaneously soaking it up. It's the difference between Aegis and Shell. Allows you the ability to keep fighting through it. Would help out in auto attack trades up against Kirmi or Stewart, should he be given the opportunity to take a boxing match. But it seems like the Gilded Gladiators really are only dedicating time to actually shutting down Awesome Jake, who for the most part has been left alone very often in these fights.
I think it's a mix of Gladiators investing time into Jake and also Jake being the one, to your second point, being hand-delivered, left on an island a bit. Now, could be simple from here on out for the Oni Warriors, who have been matched by the Gladiators.
3 bombs
in their fight potential early. Yeah, and if you're the Warriors, I assume if you'd love to not have to use any of those around the FG, it makes ending the game a lot easier, and teams have struggled on the Siege. Runic bombs making a difficult thing easier is something you'd love to not have to use around the Fire Giant. 1.5 minutes till it's enhanced. Only Warriors have the ability to burn it down quickly. SOT spotted out just now by a ward. Fire Giant started. It'll reach half. Scary D can ult his team in, but that would be a risky venture. Instead, maybe it's just Scary D that goes in. Fire Giant's been reset. Netrioid dodges out the Sonic Boom, and Panatom is in range. Rage. I said the proper thing first. As SOT will chase down Snoopy. Stewart's there as well. And my goodness, the carries of the Gilded Gladiators in a terrible spot. What's happened? This fight has gone all sorts of sideways and backwards and upside down. As the ADC and the mid laner, the Gladiators just do not have any peel. And the Only Warriors somehow get in behind all the front line.
I mean, the Only Warriors kept walking forward while the Gilded Gladiators teleport to the Warriors' back line, trying to shut down Netroid. And just really never caught up to the fight.
They got 3 runic bombs.
And 3 dead.
They're in a 5 versus 2. You can tell the Only Warriors trying to decide if it's game. It's Kirmi. It's Scary D.
It's 30 seconds.
Not a lot of cleave damage. They can simply walk up 3,000 damage at the feet of the Titan. And that's the mindset of the Oni Warriors. Runic bombs
One
used.
misses.
Watch your burst. A little bit rolls in. But the Warriors have plenty of damage. They've got another kill, and they'll end this game pre-30 and take a 1-0 lead.
The Oni Warriors, it could just happen to you that quick. One flub team fight, and they punish you greatly. Seems like the only team in the league right now that has really got a solid lock on when they want to close out these games and do so very well here. It was not a clean path by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Not at all. And it started early, trading kills back and forth. But something about this Oni Warriors team tells me that they were just having a bit of fun on the way.
Yeah, the non-clean part was the immense amount of fighting we saw in the first 15 minutes.
And every objective going to the Gladiators.
Right. But no gold lead, except for maybe 1,000 or so. When things stabilized after the FG, that's when the Warriors were like, all right, here's how we're going to end this game. Again, though, it feels like a team, and this is to your point, that can sense, all right, they overextend, we win this fight, we're just immediately going to go for the end. They haven't had to worry themselves with these base sieges all that often. They win a fight and then immediately run it down. And it works out in Game 1 against the Gilded Gladiators. Gladiators, they got to win 2 straight against an undefeated team yet again. We'll find out what happens in Game 2 after this break.